Hello. This is Ash with another episode of E-Wasted. So, anyways, over here, something. I get my thumb pointed over there, something you can see. Yeah, over this one here, it's the OptiPlex 5060. That's what we're talking about today, and it's got an i3-8100 in it. Yes, i3-8100. But originally, this system it came with an i5-8500 in it. But I chose to swap that out and put it in something else just because of the very limited upgrade path you have with these. And you look at the motherboards that, well, this is actually the 7020, which is, they haven't changed much since then. This is like 4th gen i series, and this is all the way up to 8th gen that we have here in this one. And you look, and it's got the same configuration where they put the PCI Express times 16 all the way at the bottom of the motherboard, right up next to that power supply, as you can see there. And like all they would have had to do is flip it around to where that one's on top, and the PCI Express times 1 or times 4, whatever the other slot is, have that one on the bottom instead. Then you wouldn't have to have a single slot card in there. The thing would have a little bit of room to breathe, and it wouldn't be overheating all the time like they tend to do in these systems. But yeah, because you go back, and this is before Dell fucked up. They had 2 PCI Express times 16 slots. And how did they handle that? I guess they had they just had their chipset laid out a little bit different here, which I guess it is kind of awkward how they had to have all the SATA drives up above, like right over there. That is kind of weird how that's positioned, I guess. But at least you could have a dual slot card in your little micro system here. Because, yeah. Look at this here. We'll get the video of the build playing here, putting stuff together. But yeah, the board is just not that functional, so I chose to stick the i3 in it. And this is the i3 that I stuck in it. The i3-8100 for just about 17 bucks. $16.88 later, and we get this kind of performance here. Right around 6,000 for the pass mark multi-thread rating, and a little over 2,000 for the single thread rating, which is, it's not really a multi-threading beast, but having that little bit and a single thread rating over 2,000 makes it so it's gonna push whatever graphics card you have, pretty decently anyways. It could be worse. It could be an old AMD FX processor with a single thread of 1600, and then your graphics card really isn't getting pushed that hard. It's not really a feasible situation for gaming. But anyways, moving along here. So we've got the CPU there. It's supposed to score in the 6,000 and the 2,000, and we look at what we got when we did the CPU market. It's going to come up on the end of the video, that performance test. We get 6251 and 2100. So the processor is performing pretty much in the same ballpark that the average pass mark score is suggesting that it should. But anyways, so it looks like the install, I've got the RAM in, and the memory that we ended up using here is this 2 of the sticks from this 16 gigabytes I got. It's almost $1 a gigabyte for DDR4 2400 megahertz. Yeah, so that's 8 gigs in there with 2 DIMMs available, so they can have the full 16 in there. But budget build, small build that it is, 8 gigs seemed about appropriate, because you're not going to be playing a whole lot of games anyways. Just, maybe some simple stuff, some Minecraft, maybe some Fortnite, maybe some older games, stuff like that. Because we look at the graphics card that went in here, or it's about to go in here. Right now we're on the M.2 Ñvme, so we'll go to that and look at that. And this one's, you look at the configuration of the chip here. We'll switch over so we can see it a little more up close, but it's got the 3 pins, and usually with the NVMe I just see the one big part of the chip and then the little side part. But this one's got the 3, which usually isn't the NVMe. That means it's like regular SATA, but this one actually says it on the label, so I believe that it is. It just, they built it different for one reason or another compared to other NVMe drives that I've seen. But yeah, so now we've got the graphic card and we've got the memory card and we've got the M.2 NVMe. So here is the graphics card. It's the Radeon Pro WX3100. And it doesn't really score way up there. It's just like a step above integrated graphics. I mean, it's got 4 gigs of VRAM, so that makes it a little bit more capable. And usually the integrated graphics, I mean, they're going to be like in the 2 range. And that's what I have. My laptop anyways is like a 5600U, or I think that's what it is. U, or it's not a G because it's like the mobile version. But it's right in the 2000 range for like the mobile graphics you get off a chip. And for this being, that's like 5th gen Ryzen, so that's actually like a couple years newer than this CPU. I'd have to look and see what the graphics score of just the CPU alone is, but I doubt it's even reaching up to the 2000 mark. So definitely a bonus to have a 4 gig VRAM little single slot card. And this is actually a nice card because I tried multiple cards, and not this system, but the similar systems like the OptiPlex 7020, which has the same issue of the PCI Express times 16 being pressed right up against the power supply there. And almost everything I tried, like a Quadro K620, it's another like $20 solution or so, but it's only 2 gigs of VRAM. And it only scores right a little over 2000 on the pass mark for the 3D mark. But it just overheats, jumps up to like 90 degrees in this case. And this, like, I guess it's got just a slightly bigger fan on the WX3100 here, but it makes the difference to where the card's not just, even during the benchmark, getting up above 70. So that's another plus to this $30-ish card you can find on eBay for small form factor systems here. But yeah, 128 gig NVMe boot drive, terabyte storage, single slot card that scores a little over 3000, has 4 gigs of VRAM. Not too shabby for this little $150-ish system that's being put together here. So we'll skip ahead in the video. I got stuff. Windows 11 installed, blah 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 blah, and we're on to the benchmarks here. Doing something, is that? Let's see here. There we go. There's the 2D, and we'll right after that it'll scoot into the 3D mark here. So it's doing 3D stuff. You can see this card can do stuff. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Yes. But anyways, I think that is the main takeaway from this. Like, what can you do? How much money is it worth putting in to a little system like this? I mean, you can spend $100 and get like a RX 6400 and maybe get, I think right around, as far as pass mark, like right around like 5,000 or 6,000 score, something like that maybe. But I mean, paying 3 times as much for like maybe twice as much performance. Okay. And also, even if you do that, if you're looking to, just put a graphics card into a small system you have to sell, are people going to want to spend the money to make up for that $100 purchase? Are you going to be able to sell a little system like this for like $250? No. Maybe 200, but you got to look at what you got putting it together, really. I mean, if you're going to buy just the base system, it's, if you're going to do eBay, it's going to be maybe you can get one for like $60 or something. And if it's going to have your memory and stuff already, it's probably going to be at least 60, 70, maybe 80. Yeah. Yep, stuff to think about. I mean, stuff to think about. That's why $30 graphics card, that's about all I'd want to spend on this. And same with my other, the bigger systems. If it's something that's going to be cheap, it's like is it really worth getting more than a GTX 970 at this point in time? It's like, probably not. But yeah, go back over what this system ended up being. Got a little over 6,000 on the multi-thread for the CPU, a little over 2,000 for the single thread, a little over 3,000 on the 3D mark, 3208, and then the disk mark was 7605. And that's, about twice as fast as a 2.5 solid state driver, most of them anyways. But yeah, that is pretty much all there is to be said here. Call that good on this episode, and we will talk to you next time, folks. Adios.